right. We should be back on air with Clarity After Dark. I am not quite sure what happened. Uh, we were both just kind of kicked off air with no explanation. Very weird.
Yeah, your camera's not even working.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me get that on.
It was random. I was talking to Scarlet and you froze going like, Scarlet.
I know. I was like, Dwayne, I was talking. I was like, how dare you speak over me? This is called Dark. Like, I was like, Dwayne, and you were just probably trying to cover the dead air you heard. Like,
Will not smoke.
Where did she go? So, with that being said, all right, so we're back on. Very strange. Like I was talking about the did it literally just pop it up? No, I didn't want to watch my own video right now. Thank you. But what we were talking about was a few people who had brought up the fact that, how dare Facebook, take down these ads. They were the ones that were pushing, for buy things. And now they've totally just said, oh, we won't allow it. And the reason, and I said we would come back to that, the reason why they are not having people purchase masks or sell masks on Facebook is because the United States has less than 1% of the stockpile actually needed to combat COVID-19.
Okay, but that's here comes my next question, right? If Facebook would go ahead and take all this stuff down, why the hell is Facebook posting their own stuff about COVID-19, going like, "Well, see what you can do from the CDC to help prevent the spread of COVID-19."
Right. They'll get involved in things like that, or like vaccination. Check out what the CDC says about vaccination. Like, okay, which is crap. And the CDC actually just got sued and will soon have to admit that their vaccines do cause autism because they got sued by and ICANN, yes, the Informed Consent Action Network. Now this was the first lawsuit that happened. The great vaccine debate by Del Bigtree. I actually got to meet Del Bigtree. Del Bigtree signed it. Okay. So it's wonderful. It's a wonderful book. Okay. And it talks about the first lawsuit that they had about no double-blind placebo testing and vaccines. Okay. Which is important for every American to know, to understand about what's actually in the inserts, what actually the adverse effects. Great information. Okay, so that's all this is about. It's a white paper basically on that, right? So now, but the concerning part about this is with this new coronavirus vaccine, the way that they're going to pass this off as safe and effective is to basically pull out the adjuvant, of which the government just came out and said, we own the adjuvant. Okay. Right. So they said we own the adjuvant. Government says we own it. Yada that, right? Now they're going to make a clean vaccine that doesn't have the nasty animal adjuvants and create the immune response that traditional vaccines do. So this is how they're going to get everybody to be down with it and be like, look, even those who are against the adjuvants and the aborted fetal cells and all the things in vaccines that make vaccines abhorrent, now those things aren't in there, and there's a clean vaccine, and it works on mRNA and tells your body how to write the antibodies for the disease.
Right.
So I have issues with that.
So do I, because we had this long conversation like 4 months ago.
Yeah. Like I said, because I told you, I was like, that's the next step. Because Red and I did a whole show about this and how that was the next step. We found this paper, which I wish I would have had this technology then, because I would have had it. I'm sure I have so many shows though. It would be so hard to go back and find out what day and what time.
Dude, I will go back.
Go back and listen. Like you're gonna have to go, and I'll tell you like when to go back. But like, there's a long list of shows. But we talked about it, and I read this white paper on it, and it was a company that could create 800 vaccines an hour. Okay, by this clean vaccine method using CRISPR. And this would how they would be rapidly able during an outbreak to produce enough vaccines to spread to the population. And that's basically what they've admitted that they're doing.
That was talked about. I think we just brought that up not even 2 months ago.
Something like that.
You know, me, you, and Red brought that up because we, we're all friends. We all figured that out. And go like, wait a minute. So now that they're bringing this new coronavirus vaccine out, my thing is, you're making the vaccine with this thing in it. Why would I want to take that?
Right.
See, so here's my theory. What if they're just making the vaccine to get more people infected? Mass genocide.
Well, of course, because that's what they like to do. That's why they came out with that live Ebola vaccine.
Right, and I never got that. I refuse to get that. Screw that.
Well, and it just came out, So, I mean, they have that, and that's going to be the adult schedule, and they're going to want people to get that. And now that as people start to keep getting sicker and actually die, and people's families are affected, and people each other know are affected, that's when it's going to become an issue, and people are going to be begging almost for a cure.
Right, and I'm going to say this, guys, if you travel or go stay at a hotel or anything like I currently am, wipe everything down. I didn't even let my girlfriend in the hotel room for an hour until everything was wiped down. Because they're saying this crap lives on the surface for 9 days. I scrubbed everything. What I mean everything. You scrub everything that you will humanly touch.
Truth.
Doorknobs, remotes, shower heads, even the shower floor.
Truth.
It's like everybody is freaking out about this thing. Good. Y'all are actually listening for once. Not stabbing somebody over a roll of toilet paper ain't okay. But that's just the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they're trying to say this thing ain't airborne. Well, how the hell are people getting it if they're saying it's wrong?
Right. How are these people who aren't even in contact with each other catching it if it's not airborne? Okay. Now, droplet spread, I get, but it's got to be aerosolized, and they're not admitting that, but it's got to be because they're saying 6 foot. If you're in somebody's 6 foot personal space, you can catch this, right? So 6 foot personal space, which I mean, 6 feet from me is pretty close. I mean, it's kind of far, but it's pretty close when I'm looking, about 6 feet away from me and being like,
How are you supposed to be 6 foot when you're in an elevator like this?
You can't be. See, you can't be in an elevator. You got to worry about touching the elevator buttons, they said.
See?
Dun, dun, dun.
No, Scarlet, no. We are not doing this. Oh, right here, bub. Yes, man. He's been doing this to me all week.
I have. It's been great.
It's been terrifying since I've been in this hotel.
Yeah, go wash your hands. Because you just touched elevator buttons. Yeah. Coronavirus prevention live on Clarity After Dark.
Use your elbow to turn the light. Ooh, that smart mirror is bright.
Dude, they have a smart mirror in this thing. I thought that was kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. But
no, I'm not lying. Hold on. This thing is literally a smart.
Yeah, look, you can sync your phone to it. You guys, look at that. It's the mirror.
You can't use it to talk, but you can use it to blare your radio like your phone through it.
Right. It's pretty neat.
Well, now I just need to get you guys away from the wolf.
Right. Yes. Coronavirus prevention. Okay. So here's the deal. I'm just having some issues about this. Okay. Now, police enforced quarantine. Oh, I haven't seen this yet. Hold up. Police enforced quarantine hits California residential block after man's coronavirus death.
What? Wow, now the police are getting...
Yeah.
It's not going to be much longer until
national one. Yeah. Rockland, California. Sacramento County Sheriff deputies and Rockland police, some wearing protective gloves, converged on a residential street Thursday as a sheriff's helicopter circled overhead, ordering people to get inside. People who lived there were unclear why. Officers eventually let them come and go from their homes. It was later learned that the first California coronavirus patient to die from the illness lived on this block. The Placer County Health Department issued a brief statement shortly after the police presence, stating law enforcement partners are currently responding to enforce a health officer's order. Now, see, this health officer stuff is crap that Senator Pan put into play in California that we've been telling you about, that's sketchy, when he passed SB 2, bunch of different SBs. He's done a lot of Senate files. But point being, when he put out those, he created the position of the health officers, which these health officers report to one main health person, and then they go out and they enforce orders, right? So they say orders were given under sections of California Health and Safety Code that allows Placer Health to enforce regulations requiring a strict isolation or quarantine if the action is necessary for the protection of public health. The timing of this health officer citing isolation and quarantine health codes come a day after Placer County Public Health announced the death of the 71-year-old man. I understand the sensitivity of the situation, but of course, more information is always better, said Justin Rogers, who lives in Rockland. As the Rockland family mourns their loved one's death, law enforcement are present on their block in an effort to contain a contagious disease. At no point was anyone from Placer County Health Department seen entering any homes, and the county is not saying if law enforcement will be required in the days ahead.
You know, here's my thing. It's taken for people to die, okay, for the U.S. to quarantine. Now, Scarlet, I was just reading this article to you the other night. You know, Vietnam, North Korea, China.
Yeah.
Have all shut schools, businesses.
Yeah.
And strictly quarantine only the people that had it and the people he had connections with. Why the hell aren't we doing that?
True. You
know, like, why aren't we being smart?
Because we're not.
You know, and this is the one time I will say the U.S. is being honestly stupid, okay? And here's the reason why. That the Trump administration is finally stepping into it. Theories. Not facts, theories. One, it's election year.
True.
You know, so him getting involved and him also giving a 10% of his paycheck to make him look better. You know, but they also did just approve $7 to $8 billion freaking dollars to put test kits in every state. Now, mind you, how long is that going to last?
I don't know.
They're saying it's going to be a global epidemic, right?
Yeah, they're saying global epidemic, global pandemic. I mean, at this point, I feel like we're already at pandemic level. Okay, that's what I feel.
And I'm right there with you. You know, now that the fact that people are making jokes about this, and I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact that people are making jokes and videos, and inappropriate videos at that level.
Yeah, and inappropriate videos. Yeah. All types of things.
all types of it. You know, it's like it's the simple fact is that the ball's been dropped.
Yep.
Now we're getting hit with a pandemic.
Yep.
Not an epidemic. Now it's like we're at global. You know, now it's been a global health emergency for what, about a month now?
At least. I mean, we've been talking about it. Oh, look now. See, look, I told you guys that one of these press conferences would probably go live while we were live. And it did. Okay, so CGTN just went live with China's latest efforts to help migrants get back to work. So that's their next thing. So that'll be interesting how that works. We'll find out about that.
And it's going to be real interesting in how that works. You know, it's like
I want to see when they start getting everybody back to work. But I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, truly.
right.
They're going to probably say they will, but, you know, who built a coronavirus car?
Oh, that whole Tesla 9 thing?
No, have you seen this? Who built the coronavirus car?
I don't know, but I saw on Facebook the other day that someone was talking about living in their Tesla 9 during the coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah, no, somebody built a car, an art car.
Somebody built an art car to live in the coronavirus.
No, look. It's a coronavirus car. Look at it.
What the hell?
Yeah. Like a literal coronavirus car.
You know, and it's the fact that people really aren't taking this serious.
That's what I mean. People are making like coronavirus cars and memes and haha and I'll take a lime with my coronavirus and, you know, let's just not pay attention to it and it won't be a thing. But we're way past that.
Right. We are. We truly are. Like, this is the point where now people should literally start being serious. And this is one of the ways that I've started taking prevention of the fact. So back when the bubonic plague or something like that hit, I listened to one guy said certain essential oils, lavender, cinnamon, rosemary. I think there was like 4 other ones that I'm missing.
Oh, the thieves mixture, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Know, so it's like it's the simple fact of that. You know, there are ways to combat this. Like, I've had a congestion in my throat ever since, like, I was in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
Well, the hotel I'm in has a hot tub.
I've been picking on you and telling you had the coronavirus because you've been coughing ever since.
You know, but it's like the simple fact of the fact that is, you know, like I've been sitting in the hot tub and I've come to find out that being in a hot tub breaks up anything in your lungs and forces it out because of the hot water.
Right.
You know, so it's just the little, you know, it's the little things to prevent it.
Yeah.
Like if you see you have a cough, stay home.
Please, just stay home. Cover your cough. Wash your hands. Wash your hands, okay? Wash your hands.
You know, like now I get like if you have asthma or anything or lung issues and you're coughing. I'm on the radio show there. You know, and I get like if you have asthma or like you already have like an upper respiratory infection illness. If you guys have that, just stay home.
You need to.
Because it's not worth you guys, you know, like I have asthma and it's exercise induced, but I stay home.
Still asthma nonetheless. And I mean, so that means your function is lowered, you know. I had asthma as a child and growing up.
I stay home half the day. So I think the only time I've went out in the last week was to go get Kenzie.
Right.
Was to come up here. That's the only time I've ever left my house. Now, mind you, I traveled 4 or 5 different states within the past month to come home. To go to there and come home. Now, mind you, it's through the same state, but I was watching who was I around, barriered my mouth. With either if it was with a hoodie, a jacket. When I was done with it, I threw it away or burned it. Screw washing it.
Well, that's just it. And it's interesting because people are going to have to change their habits that they have right now that are not good. Okay. A lot of people really aren't into washing their hands enough. A lot of people really aren't into being cleanly enough. So they're going to find out really quick if their preparation gets them through or not.
Guys, that's another thing. Like, guys, wash your hands properly. You lather your hands in soap in between your fingers, under your fingernails for 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah, finger tips even, they say,
And then wash your hands under hot water for about 30, 50, 25 to 30 seconds.
Yep.
It does not take that long. You spend literally probably a minute washing your hands.
Yeah. They say happy birthday twice. They said for the stoner crowd, you could sing the first 2 verses of Smoke Two Joints. You can you can sing Prince songs, they said, for like whatever gets you through, okay? But you need to do it for the proper amount of time. Doesn't matter about antibacterial or non-antibacterial soap. I would prefer you use non-antibacterial soap because they said the soap actually perforates the membrane of this virus. So as long as you're soaping adequately and appropriately and lathering and getting in between the fingers, backs of hands, everywhere up until, even your elbows, should be good.
Like sing the ABCs for Christ's sake. I know that sounds like you're a little kid. That you're singing the ABCs and you're 30, 40, 50 years old. But do it. Just do it. That way you don't get sick. I'm not even going to try to go ever shower freaking stuff with y'all because we're all adults here and we should know how to do that by now.
Well, yeah.
And then take stuff that freaking heightens your immune system. Elderberries, arnica, kratom, vitamin C, vitamin B, and vitamin A. All heighten the immune system. So, like, start taking stuff, guys, that will help with it. Don't go to the ER if y'all are sick. Because, Scarlet, that's one thing I've recognized, like, every time. Is that every time someone gets a cough, they get a runny nose. Y'all just getting yourself more sicker than what you were before.
Well, that's true because you shouldn't just be running to the doctor.
Like it's been proven. People that have the coronavirus, you don't have a runny nose and it's a dry cough. If you have a cough and you don't have a fever of 101 plus, y'all are good. Stay home. Like, I hate saying that the hard way. Like, let's stay home.
No, I get it.
Like, me, ever since the coronavirus hit, I've been that type of person that goes out and does everything all day, every day. Nope. I stay home, take care of my kid, and play video games now. I'm not trying to get sick. Like, I tried to warn my parents about this stuff, and they're like, we're not going to get it. We're not going to die. My mom called me, like, so, Ohio has a coronavirus case. I'm like, yeah, I told you, you idiot. You just don't want to listen. And see, that's the thing I hate about some of the people in the community, okay? Not bashing them, not putting them down. Everybody has their opinion, but when we're on here almost every Friday talking about different ways you can prevent yourself from the coronavirus.
Yeah, we've been talking about coronavirus now for like 6 weeks.
It's been longer than that. It's been since December.
Well, no, we didn't start talking about it. We didn't personally start talking about it here until around the 19th of January.
So it's been about a good 2 months.
Yep. And then we started our first like real report I did on the 24th going into the 25th. And then we've been talking about it. So 1 Friday, 2 Fridays, 3 Fridays. Okay, let's see. 4 Fridays, 5 Fridays, 6 Fridays, 7 Fridays we've been talking about it. So 7 weeks we've been talking about the coronavirus around here.
You know, that just shows the fact, you know, now that first responders are taking precautions. I just got an email today, matter of fact, that when we go on calls, if they are sick and they have a severe cough, that we are to quarantine ourselves at our homes or at the firehouse for at least 24 hours to see if we catch any symptoms.
Right.
You know, it's like, the fact is, guys, if your local law enforcement is taking action, don't you think you should be too? Like, and I'm saying this for once, actually follow the police instead of being against them.
Right.
Like,
yeah. We don't always often have, like, yeah, we want to listen to your local authorities, yada, yada. But usually we have ways for you to keep safe outside of that. But, you know, so when we're saying, like, you might want to heed their call.
Right, definitely.
The reason why they're saying this, and they're concerned.
I had to wash my hands when I come back up.
You know, they're just concerned about it. And I get it.
You know, like, I've been in coronavirus groups where I've been seeing a lot of heavy military presence. You know, so that got me asking, what the heck is the military doing getting involved?
True.
Is this about to be a whole AB 99 situation?
Is it the AB 99? I'm telling you, AB 99 is real, y'all. Like, that's real. We read that the other night. But AB 99 is real.
If y'all don't hear from me, Scarlet, or Red within a single week, then y'all know something's wrong.
That's real right now. That needs to be said. That's truth, Dwayne. Like, if we clear off air, everybody just know. Like, and they're saying that people, U.S. Customs is still not screening passengers from hotspots.
Are you?
Yeah, so this is coming out of the Daily Mail. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. Gonna get that going. Okay, share my screen. Customs is still not screening people.
All right.
Customs still not screening people from coronavirus hotspots. Italy, Iran, and South Korea who arrive at major airports, including JFK, LAX, Atlanta, and Chicago's O'Hare. The CDC is only mandating screening in the U.S. for flights from Iran and China. People from Iran, Italy, South Korea are meant to be screened before they can board their flights. Whether or not that actually is happening is of concern, and several people have been able to return to the U.S. from Italy recently with the virus. One Vice journalist says she walked through JFK on Thursday after returning from Milan, Italy's virus epicenter, without anyone stopping her. On top of that, you're right, hold on. On top of that, it's unclear what the screening is meant to look like and if it will be effective. Going back to what we just talked about with, like, the people at the Nebraska Center who had to come up with their own protocols for Ebola. Same deal.
So that's my question: is why ain't the CDC giving these airports ways to screen motherfuckers that come in? Due to the fact that we've got a global fucking pandemic. Excuse my French, Scarlet. Global fucking pandemic that is killing people, and we're just letting these people back into the. See, this is where I got issues.
See, okay, and I was talking to a few friends in the past week who said they knew people coming back from Italy and other places that were not being checked. There was no like checkpoints even at the hospital or at customs or when you were coming in, because at least they could do it at the customs line, because they do check you back in when you come through, when you come back to the United States. So they could at least set up at customs.
Right. Well, look at that young girl too that we saw on the video that I tagged you in the other day from Italy. That's from Kent.
True.
You know, they have students that are abroad, you know, and they're all quarantining them. They're advising them, if you're out of state and watching, if you're out of the country watching this, at least check your temperature twice a day and make sure it don't get over 100.
Yeah, that could actually be quite helpful. It's now many of the people diagnosed with the coronavirus do not have symptoms, so it's unclear if a temperature check would be sufficient. Oh, there you go, Dwayne. That's out of the running now.
Thanks, Scarlet, for giving me hope. You ruined my hope.
I'm sorry, Dwayne. It's what it said. It was the next line. Okay. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has asked people returning from all 5 countries to self-isolate for 14 days as a precaution. Customs agencies are still not properly screening travelers arriving from the U.S. from coronavirus hotspot countries, Italy, Iran, and South Korea, with scores of passengers saying they're able to saunter through major airports like JFK and LAX. On March 1st, President Trump vowed that anyone returning from high-risk countries would be screened, both before they boarded planes and once they had returned to the U.S. On Monday, Vice President Pence said anyone traveling on a direct flight to the United States of America receives multiple screenings at all airports in Italy and South Korea. But the CDC is only insisting on screening passengers who arrive in the country from China and Iran. As the death toll in the U.S. reached 14 on Friday, many travelers took to Twitter to share stories about returning to America from the high-risk countries with minimal to no screening. Many said the only question they were asked if they had recently traveled to China. In addition to fears over how flights are screened, there's growing criticism of the federal government's response to testing. So here are the people on Twitter. They didn't ask him anything. She was in there for Vice News. She did not go into the isolation zone in Lombardy. No screening at SFO when I came from Japan, Vietnam. Just landed at Dulles on a 9-day trip to Italy. But I spent a few hours in Milan and a day in Bologna. The FDA is yet to approve a test that would be able to tell if a person if they had the virus or not within 15 minutes. It is a U.S. test that has been developed by a private company and is already being used in Japan, but is yet to pass the grade here. Okay, why has it not passed the grade if Japan's already using it?
See, that's where I was just getting ready to get out of my next answer. I was just getting ready to ask you.
Okay, so a Vice journalist said she was able to walk through customs at JFK, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. They've said that 3 times now. She added that she was now following CDC guidelines, which dictate anyone who has returned from Italy stay home for 14 days. On Friday morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the White House coronavirus expert, said that what was being reported on the screening reports in airports was not meant to be happening. I don't know what happened there, but it does not sound like it the way it should have been, he said, referring to the Vice journalist who was able to arrive back from Milan without questions or screening. Oh, goodness, they would try to start a video.
See, and this is what...
I'm going to stop the video from playing, because then they like to zap us. Okay, so then there's Dr. Anthony Fauci. Here's the 15. Okay, so BioMedmix COVID-19 IMIG rapid test. It looks like a pregnancy test, y'all. Don't it look like a pregnancy test?
It does. That looking at it from right here.
It looks like a little pregnancy test. Okay. Oh, look, they say the results are displayed in a similar fashion to those of an at-home pregnancy test. See? Look.
So you piss on a stick.
Well, I don't know if you pee on it, but it says it takes a blood droplet from a finger prick.
Okay, see, that's...
They say, though, you can use blood like that to do pregnancy tests. Did you know that?
Yeah, you can also use blood to figure out the gender of your baby before your time period, before it's even time to figure out the gender of your baby.
Well, yeah, they have the Harpy test. But, okay, anyway, back to the point. Point is, for research use only, if you see, not for use in diagnostic procedures, but they're obviously already using it. PHE confirmed they were not using the advanced blood test because it was not accurate enough and are hoping to develop their own. A former PHE strategist said he was not confident the test could produce correct results and therefore unlikely to be rolled out. However, the method was desirable. A small study by Biomenomics showed the test produced a correct response 80% of the time. On March 5th, Biomenomics claimed that its quick and easy test was ready and being used in South Korea, Japan, Italy, China, and some countries in the Middle East. The Biomenomics test, called COVID-19 IMIG rapid test, takes a human finger prick or venous blood sample. Okay, oh, look, here, y'all. Negative, positive for IgIM. Ig positive, which is the early or late antibodies, and all three when the samples are positive for both. Interesting. We're going to have to look into this IgM and Ig positive stuff, okay?
I'm pulling up my computer now, so give me 1 second.
Yeah, look into that for me, Dwayne. After a blood sample is collected, a technician injects it into the analysis device, which is about the size of an Apple TV or Roku remote, along with some buffer, and waits 15 minutes. Results are displayed in a similar fashion to those of an at-home pregnancy test, but instead of a yes or no answer, it can reveal at what stage of disease the infected person is at. One line means negative. 2 lines spread out in a configuration means the sample contains antibodies that the body starts making shortly after the infection. 2 lines closer together means the person is positive for the later stage antibodies. 3 lines means the patient's positive for both types of antibodies. So they said, well, obviously, first of all, the flights that come from northern Italy need to get screened, particularly flights from northern Italy are very tightly screened, but the CDC has not mandated for people from Italy, South Korea, or Japan to be checked once they land back in the U.S. Instead, they're relying on passengers being checked in at the departure country. Passengers arriving back in Atlanta from South Korea and Italy are not being screened, nor are passengers at the Chicago O'Hare Airport, according to NBC and CBS. JFK pointed to a travel advisory, which she said could have had her temperature checked in Italy, where no one would be able to board with a temperature of 99 degrees or more.
Okay, so here's my thing. 99 degrees ain't even a fever yet, okay?
Well, it's low-grade fever, though.
It's a low-grade, but that, if you catch it as a low-grade fever...
Well, they're trying to catch people because let's think about it. If the mechanism of the test that they just said is how the disease works, right? Where you have early stage antibodies and then late stage antibodies, they're trying to catch this before people are in late stage on planes spreading it. So that makes sense, actually. But they said it's unclear whether people's temperatures are being taken before they get on the flights or even how effective would be. One group of friends recently returned from a ski trip in Italy to the U.S., and 15 of them now have the virus. Where are these people?
Scarlet, what did you say the name of that test was?
IMIG.
IMIG?
Yeah, so it's like IgM, IgG.
IgM, IgG.
Okay, so then where were we? Okay, hold on. We were right here. Where are these 15 people, though? We need to go back to that. Where are these 15 people? I want to know where they are. They don't really say. They just say they traveled to JFK, but then they don't say where they are now. Not all of them have symptoms. Others said they were able to enter the country from Iran without being questioned or having their temperature checked. Okay, so 278 cases. Oh, look at that. Coronavirus in the USA. Look at that, y'all. Look at it. And Minnesota's not even on there. And we got a case now. New York has 33 cases. Georgia, Florida, Texas, Colorado. Colorado has 8 cases now. Kansas, I think Oklahoma got their first case today as well. So yeah, this one's missing a lot of the places because we've got a lot more places. They said my mom's friend just came back from Iran. At LAX, she asked if she needed to be tested for coronavirus. They asked her if she had a fever. She said no, so they let her pass through, hearing many similar stories about people coming from Iran. The CDC has not yet included Japan on its list of high-risk countries, but New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has. On Thursday, he asked all New Yorkers who had returned recently from one of the 5 countries to self-quarantine as a precaution. But it remains unclear how he or anyone else in federal government intends to enforce such self-quarantine. It is also unclear what lengths custom agents are going to determine whether or not people arriving back from China and Iran actually have the virus. On Thursday, a health official who joined de Blasio at a press conference on the issue that passengers would be issued information pamphlets with a phone number on it that they should call if they start experiencing symptoms. The official said that no one had yet called. On its website, the CDC said it's banned any foreign national who's coming on to the U.S. flights from Iran or China. A U.S. citizen, lawful resident, and their families will be redirected to one of 11 airports to undergo health screening. Depending on their health and travel history, they will have some level of restrictions on their movements for 14 days from the time they left China or Iran. The guidance says it's unknown how many flights are still arriving in the U.S. from China and Iran every day, let alone from Italy, South Korea, and Japan. They said,
okay.
What? Yes, Dwayne.
So it's not giving me the results for the IMGI, whatever the hell it was, testing, but there's 5 different ways a person can be tested, 4 different ways a person can be tested for the coronavirus.
Okay, so let's talk about, first let me finish the article and talk about why it's taking the U.S. so long, then we'll talk about the four different ways or 4 different tests they have. So within days of shipping its tests, several states reported that the CDC's diagnostic was returning inconclusive results. The agency was forced to remake one of the test components and reissue kits. Even since the CDC started to address the issue, delays have continued. U.S. officials have previously promised 1 million tests could be run by the end of this week, but HHS Alex Azar admitted we currently have capacity to send tests for 15,000 people on Thursday. Vice President Pence reiterated the woe of U.S. doctors Thursday, but said the U.S. tested the patients it absolutely needs to. We don't have enough tests today to meet what we anticipate will be the demand going forward, he admitted after a meeting with 3M, which is expected to help ramp up mask production, of which 3M said locally on KSTP5 in a clip about a month ago that they knew in December that there was strange movement in China with the disease during the Australian wildfires, and they were concerned because they had already given up all their masks to Australia. Okay, because 3M's local here. So they say for those who we believe have been exposed, for those who are showing symptoms, we've been able to provide the testing. The U.S. Coronavirus Task Force promised Monday that by the end of the week, about 1 million coronavirus tests will be available. Now it's clear that goal will be nearly met. Secretary Azar explained Thursday that 3 steps stand in the way to broader, faster testing. He said even when the CDC itself developed a test, it had to get approval from the FDA before distributing it. The request was submitted February 3rd and approved the 4th. The CDC didn't start shipping its first batch of tests until February 6th. Shortly after those tests arrived at labs, it discovered a reagent was flawed, forcing the CDC to reissue the test. Right now, doctors have to call in one of just over 70 labs in the U.S., describe the patient that they suspect may have coronavirus, get approval for a test to be sent to them, then test the patient, then send the kit back to one of those 70 labs. On Saturday, the FDA gave approval for the other states, companies, and research institutions to make their own coronavirus tests to expedite the increased number of people who could be tested. CDC's own manufacturer, IDT, is ramping up production, and Azar thinks they'll distribute enough test kits for about 75,000 people for the virus. For addition of outside tests, Azar estimated that enough tests will be sent out to screen about 400,000 people because 2 of the nearly 1 million tests to be shipped have to be used to test at least each patient under current guidelines. He thinks that will happen by the end of the weekend. Even then, it could be a week, week and a half, 2 weeks before they're up and running. The data to allow the CDC to validate the test has to be sent within 15 days from when these labs start to administer them. So far, the University of Washington scientists have begun using their own test and is running samples 24 hours a day. They believe soon they'll be processing some 1,000 samples each day. New York State, where at least 22 people now have coronavirus, as well as partner labs, Northwell Health and Stony Brook, are now working on their own test as well. New York was the first state to get authorization to start distributing its test. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has quickly created an entire public testing lab network across the U.S. to help the state, where so far 4 positive tests have been confirmed to help expedite the process. He said so far, half of the labs spread across 10 U.S. cities are functional and ready to begin testing.
Well, dang.
Yeah, that was interesting. So let's talk about the types of testing now.
So the 4 different types of testing that they're saying is a swab test, a healthcare provider, they'll do a deep of the back and front. I can't pull it up because I'm on my phone.
Right.
Nasal aspirate, a healthcare provider will inject saline solution in your nose and remove the sample with a gentle suction. Tracheal aspirate, a healthcare provider will ask you, a healthcare provider will put a thin lighted tube called a bronchoscope down your mouth and in your lungs where a sample may be collected. Now, mind you, some of these are fancy. A sputum test, which is mucus that is coughed up from the lungs. You may be asked to, cough it up into a cup or blood. But see, this is what actually happens during a test. And I did some digging while Scarlet was reading. As soon as this lets me click out of it, there it is. Okay, so this is what happens once it realizes it goes to a lab. Once it hits the lab, okay? Once samples will arrive at a lab, technicians use a procedure called RT-PCR, a reverse transcript polymerase chain reaction, to look for the coronavirus. A similar test is sometimes used to identify the flu, and it allows clinicians to see whether a certain genetic sequence is present in a specimen, such as a throat swab or sputum sample collected earlier. Just like how every species has unique DNA, every virus has a unique genetic code. This code, called the viral genome, provides the blueprint for the virus as it replicates. Essentially, the coronavirus kit test works by determining whether any given specimen contains a distinct coronavirus, genome. To do that, they take, any genetic information from the throat swab and mucus samples. The purified genetic material is then mixed with a set of ingredients, including some derived from the coronavirus itself. Wait a minute, Scarlet. Did you hear that last part I just said?
Nope. Repeat that.
Including some derived from the coronavirus itself.
No.
So that right there, Scarlet, in your mind, has to raise a red flag. So how are they testing this from the coronavirus itself? When we don't even know what the coronavirus is.
Right.
So, and now they're saying, how long does the test take? Once the sample arrives at state lab, test results can be available in a little under 24 hours, according to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. That's important, said Hooper, because patients can be kept in isolation while waiting for the test of the coronavirus test results. When only the CDC was doing tests in the U.S., we would wait three or 4 days or to a week to get a result, which is obviously problematic if you have a patient in the hospital. What can go? I guess there's a lot of crap that can go wrong with the test. So see, here's my thing, Scarlet.
Right.
They're saying that stuff can go wrong with these tests. Like, I'll just read a little bit of what it said here. Because the test looks for a viral genetic material in a swab or sputum sample, the quality of a specimen is critical, said Hooper. How much virus the patient actually is shedding or is in the site that's sampled also matters. He said a patient may shed more of the virus later in the infection than earlier on. And the virus could have a greater affinity for certain parts of the respiratory tract. If the virus is drawn toward the lower respiratory tract, for example, then a throat swab may be less effective than a sputum sample. It's also possible, Hooper said, that some people with the virus haven't been tested, given the CDC's stringent testing criteria. This far, coupled with limited testing capacity, clinicians have had to prioritize. Son of a Jesus! Don't you dare say it. They had to prioritize the sickest and those in the hospital setting. He said. But if enough tests were available, there would be persons with exposure risk from whom we would want to test, even if they had few symptoms or no symptoms. Scarlet, don't you say it. I see your face. Shut up. That's important not only for public health reasons, but also I can't even with you. I'm done.
You can't just leave the people hanging. The people will be hanging. Don't do that.
I'm not. My computer. Hold on. No, what's going on my computer?
I was just looking. You can't even like hold me accountable for looking.
I can't because I know that face.
You know nothing, Dwayne. You know nothing.
Ma'am.
Sir.
I have known you for coming on 4 years.
I'm
the important.
Down, sir.
So basically what it says at the bottom, that's important not only for public health reasons, but also to understand what proportion of patients may actually shed the virus. When I say shed, it means outside of the skin. It's coming through your pores, your sweat, your hair, fecal matter, urine. Throwing that out there. May shed viruses before, even without symptoms altogether. And now see, Scarlet wants to say something because I'm coughing, but I'm not letting her say it.
Everybody in chat is already saying something, so okay. I'm just reading what people are saying in chat.
What, do I have the coronavirus?
Yep. Everybody in chat said it.
Okay, hold on. I gotta go look at this. Wait a minute.
It's in the YouTube chat.
Oh, it's in the YouTube chat.
Yep, YouTube chat. Sorry.
Wait a minute, guys. You can't obviously think I have the coronavirus.
They're just picking on you because it's funny. And
this is not okay.
And you just can't stand it.
If I had the coronavirus, I obviously would not be on here.
If you did, not everybody's getting it to where you die, though, Dwayne. That's the most important point, okay? The most important point of the day is that even if you do catch coronavirus, that doesn't mean that it is a death sentence, okay? What it does mean, though, is that because we don't know how this actually changes in your system, that makes me want to eat an echinacea lozenge, so just thinking about it. You're not necessarily going to get it to the point where you're, sick.
You're going to die.
Yeah. Echinacea zinc lozenges, everybody. I've showed you guys these before. Show you them again for those who didn't get to see it. They have zinc in them, echinacea extract, gluten-free, non-GMO. They're made with brown rice syrup. They're pretty good. Some of them also can have menthol or vitamin C or zinc. It just depends on which ones you want to try. They're pretty low in carbohydrates. They're 4 grams of carbohydrate, 1 gram of sugar. So pretty low for even those who have like diabetes and such. They're pretty good. And I feel like my throat is dry tonight, you guys. Like, I can't get enough water. I can't get enough liquids.
Bonnie said smoker's cough versus C-virus.
We'll see.
You're so young, so you would likely not.
We'll see which one wins inside your immune system.
Well, and she's also saying he is so young, so he would likely not show hardly any symptoms.
Right. Oh, you're being a super spreader.
Oh, come on now.
Yep. So, now, but important, back to the point. Okay. Daily Mail article, right?
Right.
I don't even know if you guys can see that. You probably can't. My light, I got to get my light situation better. Next week we'll have it better. Okay, I promise. Okay. Daily Mail, U.S. hospitals are preparing for 96 million coronavirus infections and nearly 500,000 deaths, leaked documents reveal.
Wait, okay.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Okay, we're going to read this because who this comes from, I trust this. Okay, so almost 5,480,000 Americans are expected to die from coronavirus. 4.8 million will be hospitalized and 96 million infected. Figures come from the leak slides from a presentation by Dr. James Lawler of University of Nebraska Medical Center professor and hosted by the AHA.
See, Bonnie makes a point. Do you know how much that will affect the health insurance companies?
It'll make them go bankrupt if not. And then, what if it's going to be like the insurance company bailout, like the car dealership bailout?
You know.
So they said, but this was by the University of Nebraska Medical Center. So that's what I've been talking about all night with their Special Infectious Disease Center. Okay, so I'm gonna trust that because that's what they do. They say they show the spread of the deadly disease could be far worse than officials claim, with the crisis 10 times greater than a severe flu season. The shock figures fly in the face of claims made by President Trump, who has maintained on many occasions that risk to Americans is low. Lawler estimated people with heart conditions have a 1 in 10 chance of dying compared to less than 1 in 100 among healthy individuals. Trump signed a spending bill to allocate $8.3 billion to tackle the crisis Friday. The U.S. has around 300 cases and 17 confirmed deaths after Florida confirmed its first 2 deaths Friday. U.S. hospitals are preparing for 96 million coronavirus infections and nearly 500,000 deaths from the outbreak, leaked documents have revealed. The spread of the deadly disease would be far worse than officials claim, with 480,000 Americans expected to die from the virus and 4.8 million hospitalized, according to a presentation hosted by the American Hospital Association in February. This puts the crisis on a level more than 10 times greater than that seen in the severe flu season. The shock figures fly in the face of claims made by President Trump, who has maintained on many occasions that risk to Americans is low. Dr. James Lawler, a professor at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, presented the harrowing best guess estimates of the extent of the outbreak to hospitals and health professionals as part of the AHA webinar called What Healthcare Leaders Need to Know, Preparing for the COVID-19 on February 26. The slides obtained by Business Insider suggest that hospitals need to ramp up preparations now to reduce the death toll around the U.S. See, this is why I found it was interesting, that Nebraska place, because they were the ones who knew their shit, okay? And this article proves it, okay?
It really does.
It really does, because the way I saw them do things was like, hold up, they're not doing things like anybody else in the country. Why? And then I found out of their specialty. At the time of the presentation last week, there were more than 80,000 confirmed cases. In the U.S., there were around 60 cases and no deaths. Fast forward just 1 week, and the U.S. has around 700 cases and 17 confirmed deaths. Worldwide, there have been more than 100,000 people have now been infected. Okay, so 700 people in the United States right now have coronavirus. Okay. So they said people age 80 and over have a 14.8% chance of dying if they contract the infection. The risk declines with youth. Still, those aged 70 through 79 and 60 through 69 are placed at a significant risk with 8% and 3.6% mortality rates, respectively. Lawler also estimated that people with heart conditions have a 1 in 10 chance of dying, among those with healthy individuals with no pre-existing medical conditions. A spokesman for Nebraska Medicine told the Business Insider that the figures represent the views of Lawler and his interpretation of the data available. Well, I trust him. Okay. It's possible that the forecast will change as more information becomes available. The AHA said the views were of the speakers and not of its own. However, Lawler isn't the first one to warn that the disease could spread farther than first thought. Harvard University professor Mark Lipsitch previously told The Atlantic that up to 70% of the global population will be infected with coronavirus in the next year. Lawler did not give a particular time frame for the outbreak, but his estimates ramp up fears that the disease could push U.S. hospitals to their limits. President Trump, who has faced criticism for downplaying the risk of the disease, signed a spending bill to allocate $8.3 billion to tackle the crisis. The president only asked Congress for above $2 billion, but they rejected that, and both houses passed an $8.3 billion spending bill Friday. While the figure more than triples the amount outlined by the White House last month, Democrat rivals have slammed Trump, saying it's too little, too late. The new funding measure provides money for public health agencies for tests, vaccines, and other treatments. It will also provide money to state and local governments to respond to the epidemic. The White House passed the legislation on Wednesday, and the Senate did so on Thursday as a part of a rapid response to increase public fears about the disease, which has disrupted schools, airlines, and spring break plans. A group of lawmakers from both parties negotiated the increased figure and other provisions in the measure in a rare sign of bipartisanship. The president has said also anyone who wants to get a test can get a test, throwing widespread confusion into the air given the widespread shortages of tests. The U.S. death toll from coronavirus rose to 17 after 3 new deaths were recorded in Washington state, and Florida recorded its first 2. Florida Health Department confirmed the deaths Friday night. One of the fatalities was a man in his 70s who had been sick in Santa Rosa County in the Panhandle, and the other was a man in Lee County on the Gulf Coast. Both men had reportedly traveled internationally.
That's just, I honestly do not know how I'm feeling about this whole coronavirus situation. It's like, there's so much misinformation that we're not being told. So like, it's the simple fact that we're not getting told this information until now. It's like, I just don't get it. And Scarlet, I am going to tell your viewers, I will quit smoking because somebody is yelling at me.
Good.
But back on topic, but like it's the fact that we're getting left out all this information, this whole coronavirus thing, it brings up our theory that you and Redhead, that this thing is man-made and homemade, and now they're trying to screw up their mess that they have currently made.
Right.
And can't seem to dig themselves out of it. So, like, how is that our fault?
Oh, hold on. Quisi Chen, y'all. Remember Quisi Chen that we watched the videos for in the beginning of the coronavirus? And he disappeared without his place, from his house. Now, supposedly, his friend Zhao Dongzhu announced that he's dead due to coronavirus.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And this was like a freelance reporter, and nobody can find him, but they say now he's supposedly dead from coronavirus.
Okay, but Scarlet, here's the thing. Wait till this stuff hits the homeless, dude. The homeless encampments in LA and Portland. MG Tau Legion said that, in San Francisco with all the human feces from the homeless on the sidewalks, Bonnie said that, and then Pamela said it will spread like wildfire.
Yeah, it will, because, especially when they think it's, fecally transmitted.
Right.
It's going to spread quickly that way.
Well, I feel bad for my hometown then, because our sewage is right down. Our sewage-based camp is right downtown.
Right.
By Walmart. So, like, it's the fact that when this stuff starts going, like, boom, like, the homeless is going to get hit worse than anything. Scarlet, did you leave again?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Yes, but no. Yeah, right, Pamela? Like, no kind, like, in this kind of fire, no water hose can put out.
Well, that's just it.
So it's like the fact that this thing is spreading. People are now just taking action, especially the U.S., which concerns me. Because Scarlet, as we said in our theories before, we've already had a Harvard professor linked to the Nova coronavirus. Because of $50,000 paid into China.
Yep.
So now it's looking at what else is there that they're not telling us. Because sooner or later the CDC is going to have to come out and say, hey, look, we screwed up and we made a virus that we couldn't contain.
Oh, they're not going to do that.
I'm just saying it could possibly it's a possibility it could happen. I'm just hey, I'm throwing out that huge possa that huge P word possibility. Not saying it will happen because we all know God for God's sakes it won't.
Right.
But I don't like this. I don't like the way that this thing started. I don't like the fact that we are now all suffering the consequences.
And now they say that the CDC has determined COVID-19 is now an endemic, meaning that the virus is now considered to be regularly found in our region amongst our population. Previously, only individuals who had previously known risk factors, including history of travel exposure to a confirmed case, were considered high risk for acquiring the disease. And so now that's all changed. And right. I think that's a big issue. A lot of places have decided, we have come into a state of emergency, many different issues.
What do they mean state of emergency? We've been there for a good minute with this thing.
Yeah, we have. But it's now seriously.
I don't know.
It's very concerning where we're sitting right now tonight.
It is, knowing that almost half of our states have the Nova coronavirus.
Oh yeah, at least. They said 700 cases in the United States. 700 cases. That's a lot of cases. And they said 60% of the United States has some sort of like immune deficiency or immune issue. Right. So most people are already chronically ill, technically. This is why it's such a big deal, is that most people are already immune compromised, whether they realize it or not. And now we're going to start seeing this everywhere. Nobody's prepared. Nobody actually knows how to deal with this. And people aren't paying attention. And if you're not smart about this one, it could take you or a family member out.
Come on now. You ain't never lied.
It's true. That's the big deal. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this is Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, whatever you want to call it. This is where we're at. And it's being rolled out, and people are allowing it and laughing about it and thinking it's a joke and, oh, the disease isn't a big deal. Like I said, doesn't matter at this point if the disease even exists or not. Because if right. They say it does and they tell everybody they have it and then mentally they think they have it or whatever, placebo effect regardless, okay, we're at a real big, serious issue. We're not banning flights. We're not doing things we're supposed to. It's just really concerning because the things we're supposed to do that should be happening right now, not happening.
We're not even banning, like shutting down school.
A few places in like Washington are.
Yeah, a few places that have seen death.
Right.
Come on now, Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all these kids should go back to computer-based as of right now. I just come knowing that I have a sibling in high school.
Right.
I never lied.
Well, that's just it. I mean, so we need to start thinking about our phones. They're saying to wipe down our phones, wipe down the things around us, start being mindful, try not to touch your face, try to ignore it. If you do scratch your face or wash, pick at your face, then try to wash your hands afterwards. I'm going to do this right now because my eye itches. But just start being really aware of that. You want hand sanitizer if you're using that with at least 60% alcohol. You know, it's happening community acquired. So now that means that it has to do with our hygiene to keep it away.
You know, and another thing, guys, and I'm going to say this because I already screwed up and did this. Stay away from the flu shot.
Yeah, because I just read an article from PubMed that talked about how you're actually susceptible to more types of respiratory illness after receiving influenza vaccination. So I would highly not recommend that.
And I will say this, Scarlet gets to say I told you so. Because I went and got the flu vaccine for my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you now.
Does in the flu vaccine insert that it can actually cause like regular coronavirus?
See, but that's the thing. We all have a natural coronavirus enzyme.
Well, the coronaviruses are like common colds and other things. They don't stay in our systems, but we do have them.
So here's my thing. What if these people actually don't have this coronavirus here in the States? It's just the enzymes that we have popping up on test kits.
We don't know. We can't answer any of those questions. It doesn't really matter because the way they're reacting about it. Okay, also, don't be this guy. Subway rider sprays Asian man with Febreze. Don't do that. Please
don't spray that ignorant asshole.
Don't spray stuff on folks. You spray something on me on the subway and you're gonna get fought. Okay, that's just not going to happen with me.
Oh, I'm just going to stab you if you spray something on me. That's felonious assault.
That's like assault. I don't know what that is. People are getting like gassed in Africa and like, no, dude, I'm not.
If you walk up and spray somebody with an unknown chemical, even if it's Febreze or something like that, you don't know what's in that can. That's either one considered felonious assault or attempted murder.
Right? I would definitely say felonious assault.
Okay, Scarlet, let me give you an example of felonious assault. Say if I came up and spit on you, right?
Right.
My ass is going to prison.
Right. Oh, guess what? Okay, one thing to maybe be excited about, like I said, I was going to start telling people about, good things about the coronavirus. Lobsters that were supposed to be shipped to Asia for the Chinese New Year have been grounded. And so now lobster is the cheapest it has ever been.
I don't think that's doing. I'm gonna shut up.
So I mean, they do eat a lot of lobsters.
They do, but still,
they didn't come from China, Dwayne. They're American lobsters.
American, and we got the coronavirus.
Everybody's got the coronavirus. I still want to live life and eat something good. Okay.
Scarlet's gonna end up eating the lobster and catching the coronavirus.
I'm not the one standing outside with the coronavirus right now.
Oh, come on. Shut up. That's not even
Open
right.
the door for that, Dwayne. Like, I cannot believe that you would allow yourself to just go there and then think I wasn't going to go back. Like, okay, that's just...
Hey, I had to get you back for the 30 million times you said within the past 2 days I've got the the 30 million times you said within the past month and a half that I have the Nova coronavirus.
Yeah, I have told you probably like 37 times you've had it. Oh, also, a hospital in the Corpus Christi area has shut down all patients from coming in.
What?
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, adrenochrome. There's a factory in Wuhan.
Okay.
Okay, adrenochrome. You know where they take adrenochrome from? Small children and adults that they scare the crap out of and use in like human trafficking and other places. But there's 3B Scientific Wuhan Corporation. Okay, and you can buy adrenochrome from them. And it kind of makes sense why they might, not let people see bodies or want to burn them up or, don't allow autopsies because, if they're taking everybody's, glands to use for adrenochrome, it might be a good way to do that.
see, but that's sad.
Costco is spraying people with what? Costco is also stopping all samples. People are really sad about that.
Sam's Club ain't.
They probably will too, because they just stopped today because somebody made a meme talk about what if somebody touches all the coronavirus samples. Like, so, I mean.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. That was the wrong time to laugh. But that's stupid. I've seen so many memes and so many stuff on the internet about the coronavirus. Scarlet, you should honestly read that article you sent to me the other day. No.
I mean, it's a little racy, but I mean, people are going a little too far with the coronavirus. Let's just put it like that. It's
yeah, give me a minute. I'm setting you guys up.
It's going way too far. Okay. That's just where I'm at this point. Way too far. Oh, yes, I was going to talk about, CGTN is live again. Also, this is going to be authorities brief the media on coronavirus control in Hubei province. So that's a press conference that is going to be on live here in a moment. CGTN is the name. I'll actually put that in the YouTube chat for those who would like to look at that later. Yes, we were going to talk about Evelyn Boswell really quick before we get out of here tonight and finish talking about our topics.
Actually, Scarlet, I'm going to head out. It's 3:05 in the morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, guys. Later. Scarlet, thank you so much for having me, as always, even though it was a short amount of time tonight. But I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go to bed.
No worries. We'll see you later. Dwayne, thank you for being here.
No problem. Night, guys.
All right. So, okay, now we have the timeline. So, it will be, so 2/18. Okay. Evelyn was reported missing by grandfather. He spoke to TDCS claiming he had not seen Evelyn for over 2 months. Now, this is the 18-month-old out of Tennessee. Investigators spoke with Maggie, the mother. She told them Evelyn was with Ethan, the biological father, claiming she was supposed to meet Ethan 2/19 at 4 p.m. to exchange custody. Investigators revealed that was false. Ethan is actively enlisted in the U.S. Army stationed in Louisiana. 2/19. TBI issues Amber Alert seeking information on the gray BMW. BMW was reported stolen by owner Melissa Wood, which is Hunter Wood's mother, which is Maggie Boswell's current boyfriend, Hunter Woods. He spoke with WJHL, saying that he had never met Evelyn over the few weeks him and Maggie dated, believing Evelyn was living with her biological dad, Ethan. Even though that ended up being proven false, there's pictures of them on Facebook as acting like a little couple and family. Right. So then, 2/21, Maggie was seen leaving Bristol Juvenile Court. Sheriff holds press release. Babysitter said last time she saw Evelyn was December 10th or 11th. Maggie spoke with WCYB, claiming she knew who had Evelyn, but was scared to contact law enforcement in fear of person to disappear with Evelyn. BMW was discovered in Wilkes County, North Carolina, along with grandmother Angela and her boyfriend, William McLeod. They are taken into custody. Grandfather talked with WJHL saying that he called DCS and has not seen Evelyn since Thanksgiving. 2/22. Wilkes County Sheriff's Office charged Angela and William with an out-of-state fugitive charge. Vigil held at Bristol for Evelyn. Maggie is reported to have not attended. 2/24. Angela is extradited back to Tennessee. Maggie told WJHL Angela took Evelyn to Mendota, Virginia to a campground in a silver camper. Maggie also shares with WJHL that her father is a gypsy. WJHL reports Sullivan County searched Mendota campground but found nothing. 2/25. WJHL reported Maggie claims she is pregnant and could not take a polygraph due to Sullivan County SO policy. Sullivan County Sheriff's Office verified they did not receive a request, nor did have plans to conduct a polygraph. Later in the evening, Maggie went to Sullivan County Sheriff's Office to speak with investigators. Maggie was later taken into custody, charged with false reporting, and a bond set at $25,000. Angela's bond was set at $5,000. Charges in Kingsport and Sullivan County. The vigil is held in Mendota. The Tennessee DCS opened an investigation involving Evelyn. The Herald County Courier released having interviewed David Jones, Maggie's grandfather, Angela's father, in regards to missing Evelyn. He had not seen Evelyn since before Thanksgiving and is well to claim have to seen Maggie and her former boyfriend, unnamed, give a car to Angela as early birthday present earlier in the month. So that's, like I said, where the connection to the mother's BMW that was given to Grandma, which is Maggie's mom, by Hunter Woods, the boyfriend of Maggie. It gets all complicated, y'all. 226, sheriff held press conference at 1:30 p.m. Investigators received a tip at 1:40 p.m. in Wilkes County to search pond. Mary McLeod, William McLeod grandmother, shared with law enforcement that William and Angela came to her residence on 221 asking for gas money. She also noted that William's feet were wet. William was extradited to Tennessee. At 5:20 p.m., Wilkes County Sheriff's Office announced inconclusive search. William McLeod gave a report he had only seen Evelyn one or two times since he began dating Angela in June 2019. He also offered DNA and polygraph. Maggie's second hearing is established to be on March 2nd at 1:30 p.m. to either plead guilty or request an attorney. 227. Angela and William appeared in Bristol court. McLeod's bond is lowered to $10,000. Angela's next court appearance is set for 4:30 in Kingsport and 3:04 in Bristol. Yadkinville, North Carolina, confirmed they are investigating a tip claiming Angela, William, and Evelyn were seen at KFC 2 weeks prior. The sheriff's office addressed claims of Maggie's pregnancy because she was like, I'm pregnant when she went to jail, because after all these like news interviews that she was lying about, she's smiling about, she's not acting concerned for her child, people started to question this. Where it is known to have 4 pregnant inmates at 11 p.m., there's a 5th pregnant inmate taken into custody. 228, TBI executes search warrant in trailer house near Boone Lake in Sullivan County, retrieved unknown items. Angela bonded at 9:15 p.m. Hearing for Maggie at 1:30 p.m. Lower bail denied. Next court date 5/8 at 9 a.m. Okay, then 3/4. William McLeod hearing at 10 a.m. Bond remains the same. Next court 3/24 9 a.m. Angela was seen in court on the theft charge. Judge advised her to hire a lawyer. Next court date 3/24. William McLeod makes bond. Now, today, Evelyn Boswell's remains were found on the property of the grandfather who called DCS in the first place. Crazy, I know, right? This story has gone so wild and crazy, I don't even know what to think, because is it the mom? Is it grandma? Is it grandma's boyfriend? Is it grandpa, who was mom's, boyfriend at one time, but isn't mom's boyfriend now? Is it her boyfriend? Who is it? They searched that pond that was grandma's property. They did all these things, and then they find her remains at grandpa's property. And they said he owned a trailer park and a lot of sketchy stuff, and they were already remodeling Maggie's trailer. He had already, rented it out to new people, and just really sketchy stuff that nobody else would do. And, I feel so terrible for that little girl, and I hope she rests in peace, because her soul deserves that for whatever she went through. I'm sure it was absolutely awful. But something really bad and really wrong went on with this. And, from day one, Red and I called this like Casey Anthony #2, because she just kept lying and lying and lying and lying. And similar to other cases, like I said, we followed a lot of cases, children going disappeared, missing, all these different things, because, the hard things to talk about are what we like to get down to the nitty gritty on Clarity After Dark. That's what it's about, is talking about things late at night that otherwise during the day don't seem to make sense. But in the middle of the night, you can kind of slow down and your mind slows down, and you can really start thinking about what that means. Now is the time for everybody to start thinking about, what does it mean to hold your loved ones close? Do you trust your loved ones? Do you have a plan? Have you spoken to them about what happens in a situation like this? Because I don't think many people have prepared for something like this in particular. We don't need to be scared. We don't need to make rash moves. We don't need to hurt one another. There are ways to make it through, but we're going to have to do it together, because now that they've taken away things like masks and personal protective equipment from individuals, that's going to take it away from us probably getting it until we get this under control, to where, masks might be a thing that we say, oh, we used to be able to get those. And that's really scary to think about. We know they work. Why countries like Korea and Japan now are even putting limits on how many masks you can get, and you can at least get 2 a week. So that's my only issue, is that you can actually at least get 2 a week. I don't know why they're telling people that. I think, like I said, it's more so that they can actually procure them for healthcare workers, because they did not think about procuring them from healthcare workers. Now they're saying they're not testing any more outpatients because now it is the endemics. So that's coming from Evergreen Health. And I don't know how far people are, like Bonnie, are from Evergreen Health. But that's just concerning that, now people aren't even going to even be tested. So I think more people are going to have to deal with the side effects that we don't know could happen. Let's hope it's more like H1N1 or measles or mumps, that, a small amount of people have some serious side effects, but the rest of us do very well. This would probably be the time, and especially if you know and you have the means and ability to take off, you should. And yes, Bruce, some stores are limiting people on how many of any items you are allowed to purchase. That is true. Which I don't think they should be doing, but who am I, to question them, I guess, But I think that because people are going in there and buying just obscene amounts of things too, like, you don't need a cart full of toilet paper. I mean, you could probably buy 2 or 3 packs and you'd be really good stocked. Like, do you need a whole pallet of it? I mean, that's where I just start to be concerned. And why just toilet paper? A lot of people were asked, hey, why did you, buy toilet paper? And they were like, oh, because I bought toilet paper because the other guy bought toilet paper. And so that's what I felt that I was supposed to do. So, I mean, you've got people who are just buying toilet paper to buy toilet paper. My Patriot Supply is about 8 weeks behind. I still highly recommend them. My Patriot Supply has really good items, including seeds, storable foods, water filtration, many different items. I also highly recommend still trying to get cleaning supplies if you can, if you haven't already. And then now using those supplies. The pandemic is here to where these type of supplies, you should be using them. You should be using your bleach. You should be using your peroxide. You should be using these things in your home now. Now is the time to wipe everything down. Now is the time to keep everything clean. And with that being said, as we're getting ready to wrap up, if anybody would like to call in, the number is 1-929-205-6099. And the meeting ID is 238-494-3128. And that meeting number is going to stay the same all of the time. So you guys will have a little tip on how to be the first ones to call in. So again, if you guys want to call in, the number is 929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 238-494-3128. Come join me for the last few minutes of Clarity After Dark to talk about your thoughts and what you think going forward, because, you know, the next week when we talk, landscape might be completely different. I mean, even Sunday, by the time we come back on with Red, landscape might be completely different. And that is if Red comes on. Now, she is restarting work and starting to get all this stuff together. So I don't know for sure if the show will happen on Sunday. Like I said, I'm going to start to try to do more update shows during the week so that we can have a little bit more news and updates during the week for me. But we're at a point where things are starting to kind of push to the serious level. You know, if you have some storable foods and, you know, things like that, this might be the time you want to start thinking about staying at home. If you can go to a cabin. Oh, do not forget to enter for the Ready Hour 72-hour kit, okay, that we are giving away on Freedom Revolution Network. So Ready Hour 72-hour kit. Again, we went over this a few times, but we're going to go over it one more time. Homestyle potato soup, creamy chicken flavored rice, black bean soup with a little bit of spices and this and that, and mac and cheese. As well as 2 Santa Claus 2 masks, and that will be sent to one lucky person who enters at contest@freedomrevolutionnetwork.com. Put in the subject line 72-hour kit. I'm thinking 24, 72. Okay, we're trying to get it together here. 72-hour kit in the message line. We will put you in for the running to win the 72-hour kit. We're going to pull that, like I said, in 2 weeks. And so that I had announced that, I believe like Wednesday or something of this past week, the 4th, 3-4, yeah, 3-3, I think it was. So Tuesday, so like the 17th, we'll be pulling it, and we will ship it by Friday, the 20th. So I would definitely put in for that. Make sure you like our YouTube channel. Make sure you like us on Facebook if you're on Facebook, and all those things. If you haven't already done those, we'll get you an extra entry into the giveaway. So definitely check that out. I'm going to go check chat really quick and see if anybody's saying anything in chat. Yeah, it is panic buying. And I don't think people should panic buy, because I think, well, a lot of people should have already been preparing, but since they're not, they feel like they have to catch up, but they're not thinking about the more appropriate things that they should pick up, right? You know, water, food, you know, things they just might not have, a couple extra things. You might just want to pick up a couple extra, you know, packaged food items, like, you know, side dishes like noodles or spaghetti, or just, you know, egg noodles, just something that you can even make something simple with. You know, if you can't get out of this to the store the next day, you know, what do you have to eat? Some people don't store a lot of food at their homes. Some people only store the food that they're going to make, and that's the only food they have, and they don't keep any extra food. Other people store all types of food and have tons of things in the cupboard, but still say they have nothing to make, you know. Depends on what type of person you are. And I don't think we should be discouraging anyone who wants to start preparing and feels like this is the event I need to start preparing for, because we all started somewhere. You know, even if you have even just a small cache of things, you're still better off than the next guy who's never thought about it. And we have to think of ourselves as grateful in that way. That even if we may not be where we want to be in preparations, we're still better off than someone else, and our preps meant something. Oh, hello, welcome. Who is it? All right, hold on. I'm gonna fix this really quick, and then we'll figure out who it is. All right. Hello. Who do I have with me?
Yes, Bruce. Scarlet, how are you?
How are you, Bruce?
I just wanted to holler at you right quick. You're doing a good show tonight. And
Absolutely. Thank you.
things like that. And I talked to Ron earlier. I don't know if you read some of my earlier posts or not about Bill Gates and things, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we definitely covered Event 201 at the beginning. I watched all 20 hours of Event 201's programming on YouTube from the Centers of Health and Disease Security. And it was an interesting exercise that they did. Like I said, a lot of the things that are happening right now were exactly what they said they would do. Even up to Enclade X, which was the event before Event 201 that they did the year previous. Nancy Messonnier, the head of the CDC, was there. And she played her role and said what she would do. And it's much like what she's acting like now. So the elites knew how they would react, but they didn't give us a game plan of how to react.
Yeah, but no, I watch Dave Hodges quite a bit and
Okay.
things, and he's come out with some of the stuff that I have put in chat, and I talked to Ron, maybe stir the pot and get it out to a few of the people that's got a pretty good sized audience on the alternative media about him having the patent on the virus. And you can't tell me just using logic that he does not have the fix for him and his cronies, the elites, where they're not going to get sick and us little people are going to have to pay the price while they lap up the dollars after it's time, like in one of my posts, for him to turn the virus loose or the vaccine loose, I mean, and like Ron said, keep the fingers from pointing to him, make up some excuse, kind of come up with the idea, look what the scientists I've been in touch with secretly what we come up with, and it works. And like I say, I think it's already there, but it just ain't time to release it yet because it's not a moneymaker for any of them guys, even big pharma.
Too, like Alex Azar said, the reason that they're not super fast tracking this vaccine is because they have to wait for their partners and wait for people to invest.
Yeah.
And so
it's all about money.
It is. A gentleman at Mr. Tire's work invested into the coronavirus vaccine in one of these companies. And I don't know exactly which stock it was, but the stock was running at 36 cents, went up to $6.50.
Yeah.
Made 15 grand off their potential of a vaccine. And if he made money on a day where the stock market crashed, how many other people are making that move? Was my thought.
That's what happened in 1929 and 30 when it happened. That was an engineered crash too, so the big guys can make the money. And also, what I've seen from three different alternative media sources, like I put in the chat earlier, the WHO had sold pandemic insurance is basically what it is. They sold bonds, and if they declare a pandemic before the bonds mature, they have to pay out the bonds. But if they mature and then they call a pandemic, they get to keep the money.
Yep. And that's like, I believe, June when those bonds are due.
Yeah. I think some of them are coming due next month in April, and the rest of them will be in June or July. Yeah. But they're holding off on the official
pandemic.
The pandemic word. And also, if you watch Celeste Salome, this is all I do is watch. This is all I do is watch YouTube. I'm disabled and really don't go anywhere unless I go. And I'm an infomaniac to start with. I watch Celeste Salome, and also with what I put in there, I think out of the box and put things in there like people think I'm crazy living up to my last name.
Right.
But she said at the briefing a couple days ago that the head of the CDC or one of the ladies from the CDC put in the memo to all the medical facilities in the United States. They're basically going to go by age and things for triage. People with respiratory issues, it's going to be like the New World Order or the other medical systems in the world, England, Canada, and all of that, whether you get treatment or not, if it's worth it, if you can contribute to society, if we get you well.
What they said, I read that the other night, covered for Ron, and they were like, oh, the weak are going to die. And it's like, how can you say something like that? Like, that's crazy.
I'm on that list. I'm disabled, so whatever, and I got a little bit of COPD and stuff, and I do smoke, but I've done that for 40-some years and everything, but I'm still here and everything. But if they're going to work it like that, I've got provisions here the best that I can for a little while anyway.
Right.
And all that before I got to seek help, because I'm not rich, by no means, not getting under $2,000 a month to live on, which is tough. But other than that, I've made do with what I've got and trying to do my best. And but I'm on that list. If they're going to usher in the New World Order with medical and other stuff on the series that Celeste is running, I try to watch part of that and things. So it's not good on what they're trying to come up with and try to make us do.
No, I'm very concerned about social measures, about different ways that they're going to make us react. People are already at each other's throats. It's very concerning, I mean.
Yeah, and I'm like you. If they try to come in here, I got the same attitude you got from your video the other night with Ron.
Yeah.
And things like, you're going to pick the wrong house.
Don't come to my house. I've been told, don't come here. This is not the place for you. Now, if I invite you here, you're welcome. Yeah. That's great. I invite you in, but do not come here looking for something nefarious, because you will find it. Okay, I will make sure it is there for you, but do not come here for that.
Yeah, you will get a greeting you will not like.
Right, because I think that's what people are saying. I saw a few people, like I said, oh, I'll just go to my neighbor's house and take things. No, not my house. Don't come here. And I just think that's a terrible attitude to have. We could be out helping each other, and if people, required assistance, then we could provide it. But just to say, oh, I'm just going to take from who my neighbors, I think it's a terrible thing to say. It's a truly terrible thing to say.
Yeah, there was a show. I've got it recorded somewhere and made a DVD, but I don't know where my DVD is. But I pulled it off of YouTube. But it had been aired. I watched the original on was it Discovery Channel, History Channel, or something, I believe. If you go to YouTube and search After Armageddon, it has to do with a pandemic. And the main character in it, he's a medical worker at a hospital and stuff, and they were trying to bug in Los Angeles. They lost the sewer, they lost the internet, they lost the electricity, and all of that. Then they started having marauders come around. It's a very good movie on what we could be in for. If you want to search it out and watch it, it's about an hour and a half for all the people listening and stuff. It has to do with a pandemic here in the United States, and it is very informative, and you can learn stuff off of it on what you need to do. And they got experts speaking for each scenario that these people go through from government agencies on what to expect and what to do, what not to do, and all that. It is a very educational show. It's about an hour and a half long if people want to find it.
Yeah. And you said it was called After Armageddon?
Yeah, let me see here.
Yeah, I'll look because I'd like to know because that does sound interesting. And this is why I've been looking into, like I said, the Nebraska documentary and just little things that you can learn from and pull from and kind of realize where we're at in this climate. Because right now,
it's After Armageddon. It's the first one. Type in After Armageddon 2000.
okay,
And it's the first one on the list.
okay, yeah, we will do that.
And
Because I want to see that.
I want everybody, since we got this pandemic concern, everybody that's listening, and if Ron can put it out, or you pop in on Ron some night and after you watch it and see what you think,
Right.
and put it out for everybody to watch. It's very informative.
Yeah.
Is what it amounts to.
Well,
so,
everything that we can learn at this point is going to be important for us. You know, meanwhile, besides coronavirus, just to kind of, round it out, we've got a little earthquake action today too. You know, we need to be prepared for just about everything. Just, we've been kind of, I don't want to say, I guess, spoiled by not having as many earthquakes as we've been having, recently. It kind of slowed down a little bit. Well, now it's picking up again.
Yeah, might be picking up to, really rattle our cage and stuff. I hate to say it that way, but
yeah,
that's very well could be. And
just like the tornado, that was not good for coronavirus people to be mixing together and are still in shelters, I'm sure, tonight, and don't have no place to go, and not good.
I'm in Tornado Alley. I'm down here in southwest Kansas, 40 miles from Oklahoma, and about 120 from Colorado, and things like that. If I go through Garden City,
yeah, you're right there. That little part there
that's one of my pastimes. Also, I'm storm spotter for the Weather Service. Have been for years.
Right.
And things like that. So I like that stuff. I'm not physically able to do a lot of stuff, but
there's a lot.
Like what I said, my brain still works good.
Oh yeah, you can.
That's what it is.
Your stuff that even stuff with USCF.
But the deal is, I can't physically do it anymore.
Yeah, but there's a lot
things on what I used to do, but I've been in, all, fire, EMS, law enforcement, security, a variety of things through my life, so I got quite a field, basically, like one song from years ago, Working Man's PhD or Master of all trades, master of none is what I am, and things like that. But storm spotting is one of my pastimes, but I don't get up close and personal like some of the guys do.
Right. Yeah. No, but I get from it, and I definitely watch that. But we do need to be ready. They were talking about, and I had brought it up the other night, that this tornado season is expected to be increased. So everybody needs to be prepared and on their way. And warmer weather is expected for most parts of the country in the next couple of weeks. So we need to be aware for early season tornadoes and storms and severe weather that could be coming our way.
Right. But anyway, I wanted to call in and holler at you anyway. And, I don't know how much longer
followed during like a tornado or like hurricane season, but we do go on air for tornadoes and warnings and watches during the seasons. So be ready for us to come on quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, if I have something here, can I call either one of the numbers, the number that Ron gives out, and whichever one's on, and make it in?
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, if I'm out and something comes up and you guys are on the air and everything, I might come in and give you a live report.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Even what you're hearing, even things you're hearing over the scanner or things like that are super important to us.
Okay. Okay, we can do that too and everything. There's a new movie out, or another movie out. It's called Blackout. Lights out, SHTF in the modern Western world. Could you survive? I haven't seen that one, but probably from the title,
Ooh, 4.0.
might be pretty good. It says this movie is about an SHTF situation in the modern Western world. It's in England and should be a wake-up call for those Americans who rely heavily on electricity.
Right. Well, and that concerns you. Do a bunch of people with coronavirus from like the plants get sick, and then we have no one to run like the nuclear power plants or other issues, or the specialists who can fix things get hurt and then are sick, and then what?
Yeah. Yeah, this one here is an hour and 11 minutes here, is what this one is. So I'm downloading both of them right now. That way
Also,
I'll have them on
8.9 in Greece that hit in between Athens and Patra. So that'll be interesting. There'll probably be some damage off that. That was just about 20 minutes. So we're going to have to be on top of things. Things are going to be coming at us quick, fast, and in a hurry. And we're not hearing about everything like we usually do. Because of coronavirus, there's a lot of news coming through the pipeline. Like ex-tropical cyclone Esther dumped a month worth of rain on Melbourne. We didn't hear a lot about we didn't hear about the storms ripping through Vietnam, leaving 5 people dead, 350 homes destroyed, and about 6,800 damaged. We've been having a lot of issues, 50 dead in Brazil. Lots and lots and lots of activity. Republic of the Congo, heavy flooding. Just about everywhere. Now they're talking about a new crisis. 900 earthquakes were detected near Mayotte between the 16th and 29th. So now they're very concerned about that new underwater volcano that formed right off the coast of Mayotte. That some activity is going to happen.
Okay.
So,
but like I say, anyway, I just wanted to call in and talk to you and everything for a little bit and get out of here and let somebody else have it. And if they want to come in, or it's about time for me to go to bed anyway. And
it's about
all this, so
that as well. So I was just going to get ready to wrap it up here.
Yeah, but anyway, Scarlet, you have a wonderful evening, and we'll keep following you guys and talk to you again.
Absolutely. Definitely join us again, Bruce. We appreciate you.
Okay, and everybody that's listening, Scarlet and everybody, much love, and you all have a good night, and God bless you all, and thanks for what you guys do.
You are very welcome. We appreciate you.
Okay, you have a good night, Scarlet. I'll finish you up watching you here.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, night. Much love, guys.
Much love to you, Bruce. Good night.
Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So with that being said, we got things to look forward to. We got things we need to pay attention to. We're going to stay on top of things here on the Freedom Revolution Network. If you like what we do, check us out, freedomrevolutionnetwork.com. Think about donating. Think about purchasing one of our shirts or stickers to support us out in the public. Share our videos on YouTube to your friends, on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere you can, Periscope, DLive, Twitch, wherever you can get the word out. It's more important to have everybody have the information. We want everybody to feel connected. We need to start thinking about plans of what we're going to do together to survive. Do we let them start taking over our lives and what our lives look like, or do we start having some pushback? We need to decide, do we take coronavirus laying down, or do we kind of stand up and say, yes, we understand the severity of the disease, but no, we will not allow you to take over our rights or create outrageous restrictions. I think every person is going to have to decide what that means to them. And it's going to be unfortunate. You know, a lot of people in chat are talking about really good things for preparing. You'll be able to watch the chat after this video is over. And I highly recommend you do that because you learn a lot from the people in chat. They have good ideas. They're people like just you and I who come up with some really great ideas. You know, check out our Freedom Revolution Network general store, Freedom Revolution Network /Gen store. We're going to have a lot more ads up for different things and crafts and things that people made. A friend of mine actually made me this bracelet that I'm really excited about. It's actually Swarovski crystal and vintage heavenly glass from 1921. And it's made on a silver over bronze. So I'm really excited about that. So a friend made me that for my birthday. Very excited. I thought it was a very thoughtful gift. It's pretty beautiful. It's got a rose toggle on it. I don't know if I can show that really well, but it I'm really happy. So it's very wonderful. So I'm excited about that. So it's something to kind of just brighten my day right now while things are a little gloomy. But we've got to have the faith, right? We have to believe that our faith in what we believe and of the Lord, and that we're here at the right time in the right place to learn the right things and the right lessons. And we're here with all of us on this earth because we've decided to be here at this time in history. And I do believe that things will happen in God's will. And so we cannot be afraid. We cannot march forward. We cannot just stop living our lives because for most people, that's not feasible. You know, if you're already retired or already kind of have your life set up, honestly, this should be easy for people. Just stay at home, wash your hands, reduce contact with people. If you know you're sick, don't go out. There's very simple things that people could be doing. So I hope everybody just sits back and kind of thinks, like I said, tonight's show was kind of more about, after you think about all what's going on, what does it mean? Does that mean you want to stay home with your family? Does that mean you want to bug out with your family? Does that mean that you want to split up from your family? You feel that it would be better if you guys are all together, depending on your profession. This is the time to enact the plan. I told you guys a month ago to get the plan ready. Well, now's the time to enact the plan. And like Dwayne said earlier, if there comes a time where you don't see any of us on, it's probably not a good sign. Okay. We have to still protect our families, and we'll give you a heads up, as good of a heads up as we can. This is also why I tell people to join the Zello channel. We do have a Freedom Revolution Network Zello channel, as well as an Emergency Management Associates Zello channel, which I guess I could pop in the chat. I have to pop it in as Clarity After Dark because I have a lot of things saved, and this is one of the things I have saved, I do believe, is the Zello. And that is Zello. Oh, no, I remember it now. Zello.com/EMA alerts. Or EMA alert. EMA alert. Either way, it's either EMA alert or EMA alerts, but Zello.com, EMA alerts, we'll try to drop in there when it's really important as well, because we feel it needs to happen. Okay. Like I said too, one thing I didn't get out is if you're looking for toilet paper, Charmin now does a delivery service where they give you a whole month's roll of toilet paper at once with a special holder. So I would highly recommend that and putting that on, monthly order, because then you could get a month's worth of toilet paper at a time and not have to worry about it. So it's literally like that big too. Like, that's no joke. It's like that big. But with that being said, don't fight each other over it. Don't spray Febreze on people. Let's not do that. Okay, let's be kind to one another. Let's love one another. Let's try to get along during this super trying time. What a time to be alive. So like I said, be kind to one another, love one another. I want everybody to be good out there. We will see you on Sunday, hopefully, with Journey into Freedom with Red. Otherwise, Ron will be back with you guys tomorrow for Emergency Management Associates, as well as on Sunday. Every night of the week here on the Freedom Revolution Network, you can find Emergency Management Associates, you can find Liberty Librarian, and the original Red Pill Show with Tim and Mel, which will now be shown, I believe Monday will be their first night show. So get ready for the Red Pill at night. I'm excited for it. I'm going to tune in and pop in a couple times to actually interact with them and get to know Tim more. We haven't got to know Tim very well. I haven't. Mel has, but I haven't got to know Tim very well in all this time. Tim and I met for a little bit, and then I told him, hey, come with me. And we had worked on a different, network and met each other that way. And then Tim came over here with us, and he's been, a great addition ever since. And then Mel started the show with him, and the rest is history. So that's how things work here. So if you want to host your own show, please get in contact with me as well. We could definitely get you started on your own program. There's a small fee that we put into it that everybody pays to try to create a public access so we can pay for these programs to go out everywhere. So with that being said, if there's something else that you guys would like, to see, something we haven't talked about, something you want to hear, email me, stationmanager@freedomrevolutionnetwork.com, as well as don't forget to subscribe and enter into the contest for the 72-hour kit. That's about it for tonight, folks. So for the land of 10,000 lakes, good night, universe.